Morning, all. All right, remember 2 weeks ago when Montreal was considered to be perhaps the best team in Canada? And it was a battle between Montreal and Toronto, and those times are done. And today, the Montreal Canadiens, they decided they'd had enough. Uh, Claude Julien is out. So is Kirk Muller. So it's like, yeah, while you're on your way out, Claude, take Kirk with you. We'll see what ends up happening for Montreal, but you've got to think that Marc Bergevin will be looking for a permanent solution quickly. So Dominique Ducharme is named the interim head coach. Doesn't seem like he's going to be the guy who ends up being the coach, but he was an assistant they didn't fire, so he gets to take over this team. They're overrated is the problem. And I really think this comes out of last year's playoffs. I think, they knocked out Pittsburgh and then they gave a pretty good run to Philadelphia. And I really think they're overrated. And then they got off to the hot start. And I kept saying, yeah, we know they can beat Vancouver, but how are they going to do against everybody else? And it came across as sarcasm when it really wasn't meant that way at all. Not at all. It was, okay, we know they can beat one team. And even Marc Bergevin himself has said it is really hard to scout your team and decide how good or how bad they are when they're only playing a set number of teams. And they're often playing the same team 2, 3 games in a row. It does not tell you, are we playing that well? Are they playing that badly? And vice versa. So their most recent results last night, they lost 5-4 in a shootout to Ottawa, and we can have the debate about whether or not the Gallagher goal should have counted. Again, there's a lot of people who seem to think that it should have. It does not save his job if that goal goes in. I really don't think it does. It's Ottawa. This is the team you have to beat, and they didn't. And that's the problem. You can look at it and say, well, they would have won that with 2 seconds left. Yet you shouldn't be in that situation when it's. And again, it's not an insult to the Ottawa Senators. It's if Montreal's as good as they're supposed to be, you shouldn't be in that situation where you have to wait till the last 2 seconds. And not only that, they were outworked by the Senators throughout that game, and that's damning. So a Canadian team fired a coach, and it's Montreal. Who saw that coming? February 21st, 2 days before last night, they lost in overtime to Ottawa, 3-2. And again, they were outworked. They were outworked. The other team wanted it more. If only I knew of another Canadian team that's constantly getting outworked. Nothing comes to mind. On the 20th, they lost 5-3 against Toronto. On the 13th, a week before that, they won 2-1 over Toronto. I don't think the week off did them any favors. I'm just going to say. But on the 11th, before that, they lost 3-0 against Edmonton, and prior to that, they lost 4-2 to Toronto. So one win in their last 6 games. And again, they're against Ottawa twice. Those are games you have to win because the schedule's going to get more difficult. And now you're giving up points to the 7th rated team, for now anyways, in the North. Their UFAs this summer: Tatar, Danault, Armia, Perry. Perry obviously, is not a key core guy here. Armia, I don't know. He hasn't been the same since the injury. Danault, likely in his last year in Montreal. Tatar could very well be in his last year in Montreal. Maybe Julien benching Tatar was part of it. Maybe on some level, Bergman's like, look, we want to bring back Tatar, and if you're ticking him off, right? So their RFAs this summer are interesting too, in that Mete, whose agent came out and said, yeah, he'd like to leave if he could. Did that play a role on any level? I'm going to say probably not. I'm going to straight out say it's their record and it's the fact they're giving up so many points. Kotkaniemi and Lehkonen are also RFAs this summer. Has he got the most out of Kotkaniemi? I'm not sure, but when you look at their numbers over the last 5 games, Toffoli, 3 goals and an assist. He is part of what's keeping that team going. Danault, 3 assists. Gallagher, a goal and 2 assists. Drouin and Suzuki have a goal each. And Anderson with an assist. The fact that Suzuki and Anderson have cooled off is definitely troubling and worrying and all of that. Because while everybody wants to take victory laps after the first few weeks, very often the guys off to those really fast starts will slow down. And again, maybe they're really good against one team. Maybe they're really good against 2. But there's 6 that they're playing all together. And if they're cold against the other 4. Tatar with 1 assist, Kotkaniemi with a goal, Armia with no points over their last 5, Byron with a goal, Perry with a goal and an assist. Then you look at the goaltending numbers. Price 1-1-1 with an 886 save percentage. Allen 0-1-1 with a 914 save percentage. And no, Carey Price probably hasn't been good enough. But Carey Price has a $10.5 million cap hit until 2026. So it's not going anywhere. Because every now and then there's rumors about Carey Price and whether, maybe Montreal will trade him. I don't think they can in the flat cap and with what's going on with the economy of the NHL. I don't think there's any team looking to spend that kind of money on goaltending right now. And even if they could, I don't know what value do you put on him? How much do you want back? I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to want a lot back because of what they're paying for him and because of what he represents. That if he goes somewhere else and he succeeds and wins a cup somewhere else, that's a worst case scenario for Marc Bergevin, and then he may find himself searching for another job, which he could anyways. This is a team that, again, I think they were overrated a little bit coming into the season. I said I thought they had a chance to be tops in the North if they played like they did in the playoffs. I bought into a lot of that hype. But it's going to be on, for right now, Ducharme to try to get the most out of this team. And then whoever gets hired to replace Claude Julien, it's going to be on them to find a way to get more goals. I remember when Claude Julien was coach of Boston towards the end, they just couldn't score anymore. And I was looking at this, I was like, okay, so is that what was happening in Montreal? Not really. Like, we weren't really seeing a case where it was all eroding. Like, you do see that over their last 5, some players have been struggling, but there were still goals there, and it doesn't feel like their shooting percentage was as low as Boston's was at the time he got let go by Boston. Then you get into the whole myriad of other questions. Like, it's Montreal, so can you hire the best coach available, or does it have to be the best French-speaking coach available? And I understand that the weeds of that are complicated and all of that, but for a Montreal team that clearly feels this is an important year, important enough that before they've fallen out of a playoff spot, they've got a need to replace the coach behind the bench. And again, with these players that are up as UFAs this summer, and they're already at the cap. Remember, cap's not going up, so it's going to be difficult to keep all this together. This is the year that they're going for it. And it may also be seen that in a Northern Division, we're only playing the other Canadian teams. Maybe Canadian GMs feel kind of good about that. Like, hey, we don't have to worry about Boston. We don't have to worry about Tampa. So this might be the year. This might be the year that Montreal can go on a run, go to the semifinals, get their fans all excited. And in the case of Marc Bergevin, give him a nice playoff run so he doesn't have to worry about his job for years to come. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below regarding the firing of Claude Julien and Kirk Muller. I've always been surprised at how Kirk Muller hasn't worked as a head coach. I always thought throughout his career he'd be an excellent head coach. He was a captain for a very long time. I thought, yeah, he'd be a good coach. But he's ended up being an assistant, whether that's through his own choices or what they are. No idea. But, hey, let me know your thoughts. Who do you think will end up being the next coach for the Montreal Canadiens? I'm just thinking, and everybody I'm thinking of, their name starts with Jacques. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Let me know, though, what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.